good, and the stock market hasn't hurt them that much, and their home prices haven't fallen. That may all happen, but if it doesn't, that's going to be still a pretty healthy consumer through Christmas.
Steve, you used to run a retailer. If you were running one right now, looking at this environment and all the uncertainty ahead, what would you be doing? What would concern you most?
Yeah, so, I think the question is, where is inventory?
To get a $200 credit. The Department of Revenue said last week that about half of residents have received their $125 tax refund, which was released as a result of a surplus in state revenue during the 2021 year. There is a $1 billion of surplus reserves pledged to the Pension Stabilization Fund in 2023 and a cap on the state's gas tax of no more than 25 cents per gallon. Folks, listen to this. Bernie Sanders of Vermont is continuing to lambaste the $740 billion energy package. Bernie Sanders is arguing that it doesn't amount to major relief to Americans. He said, as currently written, this is an extremely modest bill that does virtually nothing to address the enormous crisis facing the working families of our country. It falls far short of what the American people want, what they need, and what they are begging us to do. Now, through this process, the Democrats already passed it. Now, Sanders announced he plans to introduce several amendments for lawmakers to consider during this vote. Everybody, a new update on the fourth stimulus package has been released. Now, to combat the climate crisis with inflation, and some states are offering relief to residents, but apparently not all residents. It seems that those not eligible to receive the funds are the ones impacted by the current economy, including seniors and those living below the poverty line. Governor Gavin Newsom signed the new $300 billion state budget into law at the end of June. It provides $9.5 billion in direct payments to 23 million residents as part of a middle-class tax refund. Payments of up to $1,000 are expected to be deposited, but there are certain eligibility requirements. According to the state, you must have filed a 2020 state tax return by October 15th and have been a resident in the state for 6 months and for 6+ months. Yet for seniors and those living in poverty who do not file taxes, they are actually not eligible to receive the latest stimulus check. This is because Social Security benefits are not taxed in California. According to Yahoo Finance, this was the same scenario in 2021 when the Golden State stimulus funds were sent to individuals and families with loss of income due to the crisis. Yahoo Finance has already stated that a state agency that runs the middle tax class refund doesn't have residents' tax profiles in their system to process payments. But the state did come up with a relief plan early on the crisis to send out the 3 stimulus checks to non-tax filers, with many seniors now calling on the state to do the same. There is a similar situation in Florida, where the governor also put into effect a sweeping $35 million stimulus check as part of the First Lady's Pathway to Prosperity initiative. The state has said that the bill will help around 60,000 families in the state battle the rising cost of inflation. But most seniors in the state of Florida are not eligible for these benefits, since most have grown dependents. Go Banking Rates recently reported on an expert who shared the impact of payments for all Americans. He works with the Tax Policy Center and confirmed that lower income households need relief checks since they have less in emergency savings. Delivering some sort of cash benefit would also protect low-income households from the inflation that's happening around them. What are your thoughts on this, everybody?
Member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, Ms. Lisa Blunt Rochester.
The gentlewoman's recognized for a minute and a half.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Speaker, today I rise in support of the Inflation Reduction Act. Oh, what a day in America. From lowering prescription drug prices for seniors to closing tax loopholes on the wealthiest corporations to making the largest investment in clean energy in history to tackle the climate crisis. The Inflation Reduction Act will help improve the lives of every single American. And it will do it all while paying down the deficit. I'm particularly proud that the bill includes my climate smart port provisions with my colleague, Ms. Barragan, which invests in ports across the nation, like the Port of Wilmington, allowing them to upgrade their facilities,
So a year ago, when Congress passed an expanded version of the policy that's been around with bipartisan backing since '97, about 35 million parents across the country began to see hundreds of dollars land in their bank accounts every month. That is money that they could spend however they saw fit. Economists and policy experts praised the program, which passed as part of President Biden's crisis relief package. They said that the program gave families the resources to buy household essentials like food, gas, and educational supplies. researchers found little evidence that the new payments had discouraged parents from working. That was a big concern from opponents of the program, like Joe Manchin. And within just 6 months, researchers estimated that the extended payments have reduced the child poverty by 30%. Now, the policy wasn't perfect. It has been reported that the expanded program wasn't even reaching America's poorest parents. Also, about 1 million people opted to avoid a small refund or higher tax bill come April. But overall, the expansion of the credit did lead to a significant drop in poverty. The window to save the expanded credit is still open. Manchin seems to be open to a Democrats-only bill passed through the budget reconciliation. However, there are many priorities on the congressional to-do list. Back in November 2021, the House of Representatives passed Biden's $1.8 trillion Build Back Better package, and that included the one-year expansion of the child tax credit. But Manchin did stall the bill by opposing a number of affluent families who could claim the credit. He also disliked the one-year extension proposal, adding that he was worried about the cost. Manchin also made clear that he wanted to reinstate a work requirement for the child tax credit. And everybody, that is something opposed by many Democrats, who noted that a work requirement would once again exclude some of the poorest households from claiming the credit's full value. And the good news is that Manchin has already indicated that he was open to a deal on the Build Back Better bill. There are many states that have decided to propose their own child tax credit to help struggling families during this time. Colorado landed more than $60 billion in federal crisis assistance and other funding during the past 2 years. The $63.6 billion in government cash, or more than $11,000 for each person in Colorado, came in stimulus checks to send to most people, a variety of unemployment benefits, forgivable loans and grants to small businesses, restaurants, and performing arts venues. Now, the state's legislature cashback program would provide eligible residents with a $400 payment this summer. If approved, the state will provide eligible residents with a tax rebate check once they file their state tax returns by May 31st. Folks, if you have any questions on the fourth stimulus check, feel free to leave them in the comments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I'd like to yield as much time as she may consume to Ms. Kim from California, the ranking member on Small Business Subcommittee of Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Workforce Development, a small business owner herself, and a great advocate for small businesses.
Gentlewoman is recognized for as much time as she may consume.
Thank you, Ranking Member Lukemire, for yielding. I'd like to thank you and Chairwoman Velasquez for your leadership on the Small Business Committee. I rise in strong support of my legislation, H.R. 6450, the SCORE for Small Business Act of 2022. This bipartisan bill reauthorizes the SCORE program for fiscal year 2022 and 2023, and it will allow SCORE to expand counseling and training through online webinars, electronic mentoring platforms, and online toolkits to better serve small businesses and entrepreneurs across U.S. communities, including the rural and underserved areas. Additionally, this bill would better protect taxpayers' dollars through oversight mechanisms. Since 1964, SCORE has helped over 11 million entrepreneurs to establish, expand
childcare because they need or they want to work. They want to provide a better life for